Morning mist settles into deep valleys and rounded ridges roll outward like frozen waves. These ancient, enduring highlands stand quietly across the eastern horizon, weathered and patient, holding their shape against time. Forested slopes rise steady and calm, not sharp or dramatic, but powerful in a different way. These highlands do not shout, they remember. The landscape carries a kind of dignity earned only through age. For hundreds of millions of years, long before towns or roads or borders, these mountains stood as land rose and seas vanished. What appears calm today hides an extraordinary story written into stone. Geography is permanent. These mountains have stood for 480 million years. Industries shift and populations move, but the geological foundation remains. It does not freeze the landscape in time, but it gives it room to adjust. This stone foundation is a steady island of survival. This landscape is an extraordinary story written into stone, and it is maintained nowhere else with such quiet strength. These mountains are 480 million years old. That is 6 times older than the Rockies in the West. It is many times older than the Himalayas. While those younger western ranges boast sharp peaks, these enduring giants display the quiet power of true survival. The rounded summits speak not of weakness, but of strength. Only the hardest rock remains after so much time. These ridges stand as monuments to geological time itself. They are ancient, patient, and immovable. This level of age and endurance is found nowhere else on the continent. The land rose up when continents crashed together. This happened long before dinosaurs lived. It happened before trees even grew on the earth. The peaks were once taller than any mountain on earth today. They were 5 miles high. That is 25,000 feet. It is taller than 50 skyscrapers stacked on top of each other. Over time, wind and rain wore them down. They became the low, rolling ridges seen today. This process took hundreds of millions of years. But the core of the mountain stayed. The hard rock that formed deep underground remained. This bedrock contains knowledge about ancient climates and vanished oceans. It is a geological archive that science is only now fully understanding. Proof of this age came from matching rocks across the sea. Geologists looked at the rocks in Scotland and Africa. They found identical layers to the ones found here. They found the same type of stone. They found the same minerals. They found the same age in every sample. 3 different labs tested these rocks and all found perfect matches. The only explanation is that these mountains were once connected to Europe and Africa. They were part of one massive wall of stone on a supercontinent. This connection is preserved nowhere else in such detail. It shows that this region was once the center of the world's landmass. The Earth guarded these secrets for ages. Now, radioactive dating has confirmed the truth. These mountains are global survivors. They have outlasted the breaking of continents. They have outlasted the opening of the Atlantic Ocean. While other ranges grew and fell, these mountains stood their ground. They were the anchor for the entire eastern side of the country. Evidence of this permanence is found in the rivers. In 1989, a team from Virginia Tech studied a deep gorge in the mountains. This site was a 1,500-foot cut through solid rock. That is twice as tall as the largest skyscrapers. The team was led by Dr. Mills. They collected rock samples over 4 summers. Back at the lab, they used radioactive dating to find the age. The results were published in the Journal of Geology. They found that the rocks at the top were only 2 million years old, but the rocks at the bottom were 320 million years old. This proved a shocking fact. The river was already there when the mountains started rising. For decades, geologists thought mountains formed first, and rivers found paths around them. That made sense to the eye, but the core samples changed everything. The river was so powerful and so steady that it cut straight through the rising earth. As the ground buckled and rose, the water stayed its course. It wore down the hardest stone to keep its path. This means the river is older than the mountains. It is one of the oldest rivers in the entire world. This discovery was confirmed by Penn State and other major universities. It shows that the paths we see today were set by forces from hundreds of millions of years back. Geography determined where humans could go. Rivers carved trade routes through the stone before humans ever arrived. These mountain gaps determined where roads could be built. Settlement patterns followed features set 300 million years ago. When people first moved through these highlands, they did not choose their own way. They followed the paths the water had already cut through the hard rock. The towns grew in the valleys because the geography allowed it. The roads stayed in the gaps because the stone was too hard to cross anywhere else. Every highway and every train track today follows a line drawn by ancient geological forces. Geography is permanent. It sets the rules for how a region develops. Industries like coal and timber rose because the earth placed those resources in specific layers of stone. Coal formed here because of geological conditions nowhere else replicated. Ancient forces decided where these resources would exist. The earth guarded precious seams of coal in its depths for eons. Humans simply found what the land had been holding. This was not a random event, it was geological determinism. The wealth of the land was written into the stone during the time of the supercontinents. In the high elevations, the land climbs just enough to change everything. Cool air lingers and moisture stays longer. During the cold swings of the Ice Age, when massive ice sheets a mile thick pushed south, these uplands did something rare. They protected life. While northern regions froze and dried, these mountains became steady islands of survival. High peaks and sheltered valleys created pockets where temperature stayed cooler and moisture stayed trapped. Geologists call them refugia. To those walking the trails, they look like ordinary forests, but they functioned as lifeboats for the entire continent. This unique biological heritage is preserved nowhere else. Rare plants and animals that died out everywhere else still bloom and hunt here. These mountains held on to life when the rest of the world was a frozen waste. This is a testament to the power and dignity of the landscape. It did not just stand still, it acted as a guardian. The stone and the shade kept ancient lineages alive. This ancient wisdom is still visible in the woods today. Scientists have found salamanders and flowers that exist only in these specific mountain pockets. They are living fossils. They are proof that the land can protect what is entrusted to it. The landscape holds itself with the dignity of age. Each valley and ridge is a testament to forces beyond human scale. The rounded summits are not a sign of being worn out. They are a sign of endurance. It takes a special kind of stone to survive 480 million years of rain and wind. The mountains we see today are the survivors. They are the strongest parts of the range that refuse to be washed away. They are the weathered giants that have witnessed the rise and fall of everything else. While younger ranges like the Himalayas violently grow and shift, these mountains endure in silence. They provide a sense of permanence. Geography is permanent. These geological forces were active hundreds of millions of years ago, and they are still active today. The land does not change its mind. It does not move for anyone. This provides a foundation for everything that happens on top of it. Even when communities shift or industries change, the mountains stand as they always have. They are the quiet guardians of the region. The ridges march across the land in parallel waves as far as the eye can see. This pattern was created when the continents crashed together and the ground buckled like a rug being pushed. This specific shape is found nowhere else on Earth with such perfect regularity. It created a series of natural walls and hallways. These walls determined where the wind blows and where the rain falls. They determined which side of a hill gets the sun and which side stays in the deep shade. This controlled what kind of trees could grow and where the soil would be rich. The geography created a map of life before life even started. This is not just a collection of rocks. It is a massive living structure that controls the climate of the entire region. The mountains stand as ancient guardians of the weather itself. They catch the clouds and hold the moisture. They keep the valleys green. This is a remarkable display of geological power. The stone itself tells a story of incredible heat and pressure. Deep underground, the rock was squeezed until it changed. It became hard and dense. This hard rock is what makes the mountains so tall today. If the stone had been soft, the mountains would have been flat millions of years ago. But the earth made something different here. It made a foundation that could last. This is why the peaks still stand twice as tall as skyscrapers after all this time. They are made of the toughest material the earth can produce. This stone is kept nowhere else in such large amounts. It is a unique gift of the land. It provides the stability that allows the forest to grow and the rivers to flow. The mountains do not just exist, they perform a job. They hold the earth together. They provide a place for everything else to rest. Today, the observable world is a direct result of these ancient patterns. When a person drives through a mountain gap, they are moving through a path carved by a river before the mountains were even there. When they look at a coal mine, they are looking at a tropical forest from 300 million years back. The geography is the boss of the landscape. It decides where the water goes. It decides where the people go. It decides what the weather will be. This permanence is a powerful force. It means that the identity of the land is fixed. It is not random. It is not an accident. Every ridge and every valley has a reason for being where it is. Science has confirmed this through decades of study and lab work. The evidence is everywhere, from the top of the highest peak to the bottom of the deepest mine. The land has a memory that is millions of years long. These mountains have endured immense change. Industries rose and fell around them. Communities shifted. Forests were cut and regrew. Through all of it, the geological foundation remained. Today's conservation work builds on that permanence. It recognizes that while human priorities change, the landscape continues to hold what was entrusted to it long ago. What survives here is not just scenery, but irreplaceable genetic heritage. Preserved nowhere else, these living lineages persist because the land allowed them to, and because the stone foundation provided a safe harbor. The peaks stand patient and watchful, enduring as they always have, guarding stories written not in words, but in stone, water, and life itself. The rounded summits are not just hills. They are the weathered faces of the oldest residents of the continent. They carry a dignity that cannot be manufactured. They are the silent witnesses to the history of the world. Geography is permanent on human timescales. These geological forces were active hundreds of millions of years ago and remain active today. Industries change and populations shift, but the underlying landscape stays constant. Geographic patterns seen today were determined by ancient forces beyond human control. Core samples and radioactive dating prove this formation occurred through continental collision, creating a boundary that still controls how water flows and where development occurs today. Next time a person sees this pattern, they are witnessing that ancient geological force in action. The same processes that shaped the land are still working today, just too slowly to notice. Understanding these permanent geological forces helps explain why certain patterns exist in the landscape. Geographic features observed are not random. They are the direct result of ancient processes that science has now fully documented. These mountains stand as enduring monuments across the landscape, their rounded peaks holding geological memory that will outlast any human endeavor.